18-year-old Alicia Bree has been arrested after sending photos of herself stomping on a 10-month-old infant's head in an attempt to get the attention of the child's father. Shortly before 6 p.m. on Thursday the 9th of May, a female friend of Alicia called 911 to report that Alicia had sent pictures of her stomping on a baby. Officers arrived at Alicia's home in Hollywood, Florida, but they did not see any visible injuries to the child. Alicia consented to police to search her phone when an officer saw a picture of Alicia stepping on a child's face. The baby was wearing the same outfit in the photos as when officers arrived. Alicia said that she was upset with the baby's father and sent him a picture of her stepping with her right foot on the baby's head to see if the baby's father would come back to her. She stated that she and the baby's father had broken up earlier that day and that she was upset. Alicia further told authorities that she also sent the baby's father several additional photos showing that the child was unharmed, claiming that she would never hurt the baby. Alicia's mother took custody of the baby as Alicia was arrested. Alicia is charged with 1 count of child abuse without great bodily harm. She was booked into the Broward County Jail and was released the following day on a $20,000 bond. A judge ordered her to be fitted with a GPS monitor and is not permitted to have any contact with the child at this time and must undergo a mental health evaluation within 10 days and comply with the recommendations given by the doctor. The investigation into the matter continues. A homicide investigation is underway after a pregnant mother of 2 was found fatally shot. At just before 7:45 a.m. on Monday the 13th of May, police responded to a residence at 42 Carroll Drive in Sumter, South Carolina, after family members called 911 to report finding 25-year-old Kira Walker deceased on a bed inside her home with multiple gunshot wounds. The Sumter County Coroner's Office was notified and has scheduled an autopsy for later this week. Police said that Kira was 5 months pregnant and her 2 children were staying with relatives when she was killed. Authorities considered the incident to be isolated and said it was most likely carried out during the early morning hours by someone the victim knows. Russell Williams, a neighbor who lives across the street, said he did not hear or see anything out of the ordinary that morning. He described Kira as an outgoing, pretty sweet young lady. He said that Kira would bring her children over and he would spend time playing with them outside, and the son would watch his dog. He said that he hopes the police find Kira's killer to provide closure for her family. Authorities are urging anyone who may have information related to the fatal shooting to contact Crime Stoppers. No arrests have been announced to date, and the motive of the killing is unclear as the investigation into the matter continues. An 18-year-old man faces multiple charges after he pushed over a portable toilet with a woman and a child inside. On Wednesday the 8th of May, police received a call from a young mother stating that she and her 4-year-old daughter had been trapped inside a porta-potty at Derryfield Park in Manchester, New Hampshire, and that they were covered in feces and bodily fluids. Witnesses told responding officers that the woman and the suspect, Aidan Studer, had been arguing before the incident. When the woman went into the toilet to assist her daughter, Aidan tipped it from behind. The door landed on the pavement, so they were unable to open it. Bystanders quickly ran over to the overturned toilet and stood it up, freeing the mother and daughter. Authorities said that the mother and the child were not hurt, and it appears that the suspect and the victims did not know each other. Aidan was arrested on 2 counts of criminal restraint, 2 counts of criminal mischief, and simple assault on a police officer for throwing something at one of the officers. The investigation into the matter continues. A 48-year-old homeless man is behind bars after he attempted to rape a female jogger. The incident occurred at around 7:15 a.m. on Monday the 13th of May in the 2000 block of Oceanfront Walk in Santa Monica, California. Authorities said that the suspect grabbed the victim's ponytail from behind, knocking her to the ground, and then dragged her several feet toward the restrooms. Several Good Samaritans intervened and called police. When officers arrived on scene, they found both the victim and the suspect near Bicknell restrooms, and they took the suspect, identified as Malcolm Jimmy Ward, into custody without incident. The victim suffered minor injuries in the attack. She told investigators that she believed that Malcolm intended to sexually assault her. At the time of the incident, Malcolm was on parole for assault with a deadly weapon. Malcolm is charged with kidnapping, assault with intent to commit rape, and violation of parole. He's held at the Los Angeles County Jail without bail. The investigation into the matter continues. 50-year-old Benjamin Hollins has been arrested after he faked his own death to avoid registering as a sex offender. Benjamin was convicted as a sex offender in California more than 20 years ago and moved to Arizona in 2018, but failed to register as a sex offender. Benjamin worked as a behavioral health counselor in Arizona City, and while on the job he reoffended and molested a 16-year-old client. Benjamin was sentenced to supervised probation after entering a plea deal. As part of the agreement, Benjamin was ordered to register as a sex offender every year. In October of 2023, a woman who's not been identified helped Benjamin file a false report, claiming that she saw Benjamin jump off the bridge at the Theodore Roosevelt Dam to his death. The Pinal County Sheriff's Office launched a massive search for the body, but came up empty. Meanwhile, his sex offender registration lapsed. On Tuesday the 14th of May 2024, officials located Benjamin at a house in Mesa, Arizona, and took him into custody. At the time, Benjamin was living with a family with young children under a false identity. The family he was staying with had no idea about his criminal history. Benjamin was booked into the Pinal County Jail for failure to appear and probation and sex offender registration violations. The investigation into the matter continues. A 32-year-old pregnant woman is behind bars for killing her boyfriend, stabbing him and cutting off his penis following an argument over whether or not he was the father of a future child. At around 8:50 p.m. on Tuesday the 14th of May, authorities responded to a call regarding an unresponsive man in the Wood Springs Suites Hotel at 659 Market Street in Grand Junction, Colorado. When officers arrived at the hotel room, they saw a bed with a large amount of blood smeared on it. Officers then spotted a naked, unresponsive man laying on his back with his feet under the bed. The man's girlfriend Shenting Guo was present, who called 911 and was upset and crying. As officers were performing CPR, they noticed the man's penis appeared to be cut off. Medics also noticed a stab wound to the man's leg, but did not know if it was recent. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene. Officers found the severed penis in a trash can inside the hotel room bathroom. Officers interviewed the victim's girlfriend, who told them that she and the victim had been in a romantic relationship. After learning that she was pregnant, she said that she and the victim got into an argument as to whether or not he was the father of the child. As the argument escalated, Shenting said that she stabbed the victim in the leg. She said she was not trying to kill him, but admitted to stabbing him because she was so angry. Along with stabbing the victim in the leg, Shenting also admitted to cutting off his penis. Shenting said that she left the hotel and went to a nearby city market, claiming that the man did not seem to be in any pain. There she purchased supplies including rubbing alcohol, antibiotics and beer. However, Shenting considered that she forgot to buy any bandages for the victim's injuries. Later that day, the victim told Shenting that he felt cold and thought he might die. Instead of immediately calling 911, Shenting gave him greens, ibuprofen and water. A short while later, she said that he was dead. Shenting was arrested and charged with 1 count of second-degree murder and 1 count of domestic violence. She remains held at La Mesa County Jail in lieu of a $1 million cash bond. The investigation into the matter continues. A 19-year-old man is behind bars for shooting his parents. At 5:42 a.m. on Monday the 13th of May, authorities responded to a residence near East Chandler Heights and McQueen Roads in Chandler, Arizona, after a woman called to report that her son, Jeremiah Estelle Blair, had shot her and her husband. Responding officers found Jeremiah waiting for police in his driveway with a 9mm handgun, sitting on a pickup truck, and he surrendered without incident. Investigators said that Jeremiah's father was going down the stairs when Jeremiah was waiting with a gun and a video camera because he wanted to record the killings. He told his father about this day coming and then shot him in the forearm. Jeremiah's father retreated upstairs to the bedroom. Jeremiah's mother heard the commotion, so she went to check what was happening when she encountered Jeremiah pointing the handgun at her from downstairs. He then shot her in the chest. Medics transported both victims to a local hospital for treatment to their injuries and are said to be alert and stable at this time. While questioned by detectives, Jeremiah said he was upset on how his parents had raised him and that he was not treated as he should have been as a child. He said he planned to kill them for years and had been hiding the gun in his bedroom closet. He added that he considered other ways to kill his parents, but decided using a gun would be the most effective method. Jeremiah said that he originally planned to kill his parents on Mother's Day, but changed his mind to the day after. Jeremiah knew he likely failed to kill his father, but believed he killed his mother and was disappointed to learn she survived. Jeremiah told police he knew his actions were wrong, but carried them out all the same. Jeremiah was booked into the Maricopa County Jail on 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder and remains held on a $750,000 bond. The investigation into the matter continues. A former Panama City, Florida corrections officer was arrested this week for accepting money from inmates last year. Authorities said that between March of 2023 and June of 2023, 26-year-old Brianna Jani Andrews knowingly accepted cash-app payments from inmates or associates of inmates at the Bay Correctional Facility 17 times, totaling $4,454. On the 7th of June 2023, officials said that security with the prison received information that Brianna had been getting this money from inmates to introduce contraband into the facility. A criminal investigation was then quickly launched. Brianna later provided a recorded statement saying that she received the cash payments and introduced tobacco products into the prison in return. On Tuesday, the 14th of May 2024, Brianna was arrested and charged with 17 counts of criminal offence of unlawful compensation or reward by public servant for official behaviour. Her arraignment is set for the 3rd of June. The investigation into the matter continues. 51-year-old Veronica Crow is behind bars for killing her 49-year-old husband Damien Crow while he slept. At around 3:55 a.m. on Thursday the 16th of May, authorities responded to a residence in the 8400 block of Pico de Aguilar in San Antonio, Texas, after a young woman who lives in the home called 911 to report that a man had been shot there. When officers arrived, they entered the premises and found Damien deceased in the living room with a gunshot wound to his upper body and head. Investigators said that he was shot while he was sleeping on a sofa. Multiple shell casings were found in the home, including one near the victim. Authorities said it appeared that marital problems led to the fatal shooting. Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar said there were signs that the couple were in the process of separating, and the investigators learned that a recent argument between Veronica and Damien had escalated. Investigators recovered the pistol used in the killing and identified Veronica as a suspect, and she was taken into custody. She's charged with murder and is held at the Bexar County Jail on a $150,000 bond. On the night of Friday the 17th of May, a vigil was held for Damien. Damien's daughter Madison paid tribute to her father, saying that he was the best dad you could have asked for. He was taken too soon. "Thank you so much for coming and speaking all of these nice words," she said. A second-grade teacher is behind bars after illicit drugs were found in her classroom. On Thursday the 16th of May, 35-year-old Candace Lee Carter was arrested and charged with possession of illegal drugs, felony child endangerment and felony child neglect. Authorities said that a school resource officer at the Spotswood Elementary School in Fredericksburg, Virginia, noticed that Candace appeared to be under the influence of drugs, and a search of her classroom later turned up a white powdery substance. Investigators said that none of the students appeared to have been exposed to the substance, but were checked by medical personnel to be sure. The classroom was professionally cleaned following the discovery. During the incident, Candace's husband, 34-year-old Christopher Donald Carter, was found unconscious in a vehicle in a school parking lot with a 2-year-old child. Investigators said he was under the influence of narcotics and required medical attention for an overdose, and was given Narcan twice. Authorities said that the toddler was physically okay and is with social services. Christopher was charged with felony child endangerment and child neglect, and was booked into the Rappahannock Regional Jail on a $5,000 bond. Candace was jailed without bond. The investigation into the matter continues. Homicide investigation is underway after a passerby was fatally shot and a juvenile injured. On Wednesday the 15th of May, authorities were called to the 2200 block of Wayne Road in Bon Aqua, Tennessee, and reports of a shooting. Investigators said the incident began with an altercation between a juvenile, a young man, and a 70-year-old homeowner, Danny Pewitt, at the property. During the fight, a 64-year-old motorist named Claire Parrish was flagged down, and he stopped at that location. Claire tried to intervene when Danny fired a weapon, fatally striking Claire and injuring the juvenile. It's unclear what sparked the initial dispute. The juvenile was taken to an area hospital for treatment for a gunshot wound to his arm and has since been released. Danny was arrested and booked into the Hickman County Jail on a criminal homicide charge. The investigation into the matter continues. A 20-year-old man fatally shot a 23-year-old man during a fight over a woman. At around 5 p.m. on Thursday the 16th of May, authorities responded to the intersection of Clift Avenue and West 74th Street in Shreveport, Louisiana, where they found a man suffering from multiple gunshot wounds to the chest and at least one to the head. Medics rushed the man to the Oxnard LSU Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The Caddo Parish Coroner's Office identified the victim as 23-year-old Jalen Tishan Edgar. Upon further investigation, authorities identified 20-year-old Rodriguez Howard as a suspect in the shooting. Authorities learned that the two men, who are not related, were involved in a dispute over a woman. Investigators determined that Jalen and the woman were walking when Rodriguez, believed to be an ex-boyfriend, approached the couple and an altercation ensued between the two males. During the fight, Rodriguez pulled out an AK-47 from his backpack and opened fire on Jalen, striking him multiple times before fleeing the scene. While Shreveport police were at the hospital, Rodriguez arrived by private vehicle suffering from a head injury from the fight. He was arrested and charged with second-degree murder, and he was booked into the Caddo Parish Jail. The investigation into the matter continues. A 30-year-old woman is behind bars for fatally shooting a 41-year-old boyfriend. At 2:38 a.m. on Wednesday the 1st of May, authorities responded to a residence in the 25100 block of Colgate Street in Dearborn Heights, Michigan, on reports of a man shot. When police and medics arrived, they entered the home and found a man, identified as Nicholas James Stevens, in the bedroom with a gunshot wound to his neck. Medics transported him to a local hospital in a critical condition. Detectives identified Nicholas's girlfriend, Leah Renee Johnson, as a suspect in the shooting. The couple had been living together at the time of the incident. Authorities said that the couple got into an argument which escalated when Leah pulled out a handgun and shot Nicholas. It's unclear what the argument was about. Leah was arrested that morning and charged with assault with intent to murder and felony firearm, and remained held at the Wayne County Jail on a $500,000 bond. On Saturday the 4th of May, Nicholas died at the hospital from his injuries. Following his death, Leah's charges were upgraded to second-degree murder and felony firearm, and the bond provisions were revoked. The motive of the shooting is unclear, as the investigation into the matter continues. 63-year-old Laura Smith is behind bars for killing her 64-year-old husband Michael Smith. At around 8:55 p.m. on Sunday the 12th of May, authorities responded to a home along Long Meadow Drive in Laurel, South Carolina on reports of a shooting. Laura called police herself and informed dispatch that she had shot her husband and that she was going to wait for law enforcement outside. When police arrived, they found Laura at the back of the house and she was detained. She then told officers her husband was in the bedroom. Police entered the residence and found Michael lying on his back in his bedroom, with gunshot wounds to his upper right chest and blood coming from his mouth. A black handgun was also discovered next to his lifeless body. The investigation revealed that the shooting occurred after a verbal dispute between the couple, which was centered around financial matters. Laura told investigators that after a verbal dispute around finances, she shot Michael with a revolver 2 times in the torso. A neighbour whose name remains anonymous said that the couple had been out riding in the golf cart with their dog just hours before the shooting. It was totally unexpected when all of a sudden a dozen police cruisers came with flashing lights and put up crime tape around the house. It was tragic. You just don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Laura I just knew briefly, but she told me several times, "I'm glad my husband loves me so much. To have this happen is unbelievable," the neighbour said. Laura was charged with murder and booked into the Horry County Jail with bond yet to be set. The investigation into the matter continues. A man is behind bars for killing 3 of his family members. 22-year-old James Mayhew is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder in the fatal shooting of his parents, 55-year-old James Mayhew and 54-year-old Patty Mayhew, and his sister, 28-year-old Shayla Lynn Mayhew. At around 11:25 a.m. on Saturday the 11th of May, authorities responded to a home at 1008 South 6th Street in Chickasha, Oklahoma after receiving a 911 call in reference to shell casings found on the front porch of a residence and concerned there might be fatalities. When officers arrived, they forced entry into the premises and found 3 family members deceased and an AR-15 style rifle laying near the entry of the family home. Patty was found dead near the doorway, while Shayla and her father were found on the living room floor. Officers also found a plate of pizza on the kitchen table and a whole pizza on the counter. Investigators said that Jacob planned to kill his family beforehand. The serial number on the weapon matched that of one Jacob bought on the 25th of April. He also bought a 9mm pistol at the same time, and that gun was also found inside the home. At around 4:30 p.m. on the 11th of May, authorities located Jacob's locked in an abandoned 2000 GMC Yukon near the intersection of South Walker and West California Avenues in Oklahoma City. Surveillance video captured Jacob parking it and walking away at 7:07 p.m. on the 10th of May. Jacob's girlfriend identified him in the video. She told investigators that Jacob told her that he was having pizza with his family that evening and had left her apartment earlier at 4:43 p.m. Detectives noted that Jacob's mother texted him at 5:22 p.m. stating that dinner was ready. During a search of Jacob's vehicle, investigators found a black cell phone in a pink case, a black wallet containing an Oklahoma driver's license for Jacob, $738 in cash, and 2 loaded AR-15 style magazines. On Tuesday the 14th of May, officers located Jacob in downtown Oklahoma City and he was taken into custody. During an interview with detectives that same day, Jacob allegedly confessed to murdering his father, mother and sister. He also outlined a plan to kill his family and to commit other acts of violence, though those other acts are unknown. Jacob was booked into the Grady County Jail for the triple homicide and remains held without bond. If convicted, Jacob faces the death penalty. The motive of the killings remains unclear as the investigation into the matter continues. 33-year-old Joshua Moser is behind bars for killing and dismembering his roommate and then dumping his remains in 3 separate locations. On the afternoon of Monday the 13th of May, Pennsylvania State Police received a missing person report that 37-year-old David Hittinger had not been heard from or seen since the evening of Saturday the 11th of May. The person who reported David missing had planned to meet him for his own birthday celebration and grew concerned after not hearing from him. Authorities learned that David lived in Joshua's home at 699 West Franklin Street in Slatington, Pennsylvania, and that Joshua had recently allowed him to move in with him. On Tuesday the 14th of May, police executed a search warrant at Joshua's home and found blood in the basement. Authorities said it appeared that the basement had been hastily staged to conceal the blood. On Wednesday the 15th of May, they returned to the home and found additional evidence, including a saw, box cutter, bloody clothing and hair. That same day, Joshua was taken into custody in Monroe County for an unrelated incident, which resulted in a parole violation. During the interview with investigators, he admitted to strangling David and hitting him over the head with a hammer in the basement at his home. Joshua said that he then dismembered David and discarded his body parts in 3 different locations in Slatington and Washington Township. Later that day, authorities discovered David's dismembered body parts inside garbage bags at the Fairfield Cemetery in Slatington, and the following day additional body parts were found in an area off D&L Trail in Slatington and a small quarry behind the Northern Lehigh High School in Washington Township in Lehigh County. Investigators identified David as the victim through a fingerprint on a dismembered hand. Officials did not reveal a possible motive behind the murder, but Lehigh County District Attorney Gavin Holohan said there appeared to be some kind of disagreement prior to the killing. He also said that at this point the investigation suggests that Joshua acted alone, and there does not appear to be any threat to the public. A neighbour, Cadence Waterhouse, said she heard yelling coming from the house. "It was Josh. He was saying, 'Get the fuck out of here. You don't belong here.' But I didn't hear anyone talking back to him." She said she saw David last week when she returned his dog to him. "He was very shy," she said. "He said, 'Yeah, that's my dog. Sorry, he was wandering.'" Joshua is charged with criminal homicide, abuse of a corpse and tampering with physical evidence. He's been detained without bail at the Monroe County Jail and will be transported to Lehigh County later this month. His preliminary hearing is scheduled for the 29th of May. The Lehigh County coroner said that while the manner of death is homicide, the cause of death has not been officially determined. Joshua was previously convicted of a February 2016 fatal DUI crash that killed 24-year-old Nicole Gruber. The investigation into the matter continues. A couple are behind bars and are accused of killing a 54-year-old man and leaving his body underneath his own home. On Wednesday the 8th of May, authorities responded to a residence at 1366 Coderi Road in Dothan, Alabama to perform a welfare check on Patrick Parrish after an unusual amount of time passed with no contact from the man. When officers arrived, they noticed a foul odour coming from the home. Officers knocked on the door but no one answered. A short time later, they found Patrick's deceased body underneath the house. Police said the positioning of the body was indicative of foul play. The Alabama Department of Forensic Science in Montgomery will determine how Patrick died, but his death has been ruled a homicide. Police learned that 33-year-old Richard Bishop Jr. and 33-year-old Courtney Ingram were the last people to see Patrick alive. They were both seen leaving in the victim's truck, which was missing from Patrick's home. Investigators found the vehicle days later in Eufaula, Alabama. Detectives gathered enough evidence to issue an arrest warrant for Richard and Courtney for Patrick's homicide. The Eufaula Police Department, with the help of a Baldwin County Sheriff's Office deputy, found Richard and Courtney in Eufaula and turned them over to Dothan Police on the night of Saturday the 18th of May. The couple were then booked into the Houston County Jail, each on one charge of murder, and are held without bond. The motive of the killing is unclear, as the investigation into the matter continues. A man has been arrested after his newly adopted dog was found decapitated at a park near his home. At around 6:45 p.m. on Tuesday the 14th of May, authorities responded to the area of East Beach at Fort DeSoto Park in St. Petersburg, Florida, on reports of a deceased dog wrapped in a plastic bag. When deputies arrived, they located a male dog with its head decapitated, floating in the mangroves. Pinellas County Animal Services scanned the dog for a microchip, identifying the dog as a 4-year-old bulldog mix named Dexter. Deputies learned that the suspect, 66-year-old Domingo Rodriguez, adopted Dexter from Pinellas County Animal Shelter 4 days earlier. Later that night, deputies spoke with Domingo at his residence at 3367 66th Way North in St. Petersburg, where he admitted to adopting Dexter and told them that the dog must have run away overnight on the 10th of May. Domingo admitted to travelling to Fort DeSoto Park on the 11th of May and provided deputies with several inconsistent statements. Domingo's wife told police that she woke up on the 11th of May to find both her husband and her dog were gone. Police also noted that the bags resembling the ones at the crime scene were in the home. In the early morning hours of Wednesday the 15th of May, Domingo was booked into the Pinellas County Jail on charges of animal cruelty and disposal of bodies of dead animals. He was released the same day on a $5,000 bond. The investigation into the matter continues.